see the young males that the tops of the horns are already losing their hair, and that is from these games that they're playing at the moment. Hope you guys are getting some great screenshots. And that clicking is just me grabbing my camera, getting my version of a screen grab. And don't forget to post those on our Wild Earth Facebook page, or just use the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. You can also see not only do they go for each other's necks, they go for each other's legs. Obviously, it's probably a lot easier to break a leg than a neck on a giraffe. But again, this isn't very serious. And you can see how they widen their stance to become more stable when they do that. So they spread their legs a little bit. Oh, stuck in a tree. These were probably what we would call teenagers, just testing each other out. Practice for the big leagues in a few years. So with evolution, there's almost all evolutionary advancements are to do with two things. One is competition for food, and the other is mating. And for a long time, people have considered giraffes' long neck as a food competition thing. There's quite a lot of new interesting research that is sort of disproving it. Obviously, it isn't but basically giraffes' necks have become longer and longer for sexual competition and for fighting. So the giraffe with a longer neck is able to draw more sort of momentum from the swing, and therefore hit harder than a giraffe with a shorter neck. So there's quite a big school of thought used now, thinking that the giraffe's long neck is far more for sexual competition than it is for food competition. It is beautiful. It is almost like a dance, a ballet. These guys are getting their head stuck in that terminator. Very serious fights will only really happen when a female's in full estrus and there's two big males, adult males around, and they can last up to an hour and 2 hours even, but normally they're over in about half an hour, 45 minutes, and the victor will take his mating rights and the loser will just move off as the vanquished. See how they go for the knees, or what would be a giraffe knee. Good one. Got in there, in between the legs, in the rib cage. Again, they're not hitting very hard. We can see how flexible they are, how much movement they have. And Clay is wondering, would they band together to fight off a lion? I have seen it before, and especially if there's a young individual like the one that's here, which is sort of one of a lion's favorite foods, a bite-sized giraffe. They would band together and they would try and chase the lions away from that youngster. But like with buffalo, it doesn't happen every time. Sometimes they'll just run away. dominance in giraffe. Well, here we have two young males. If we look at their horns, or ossicones, which is the correct word for a giraffe's horns, the males do not, even at this young age, do not have hair on top of their horns. The horns are far more robustly built than the females, and that is for fighting. The females have a full sort of hair covering them, full set of hair covering them, and are much, much more delicately built. Unfortunately, there are no females in sight at the moment, just these two young males. The females have moved off. See that seriously swing that neck, and Renee is wondering, do they ever pass out while swinging their necks? Not that I've ever heard of, Renee. One must remember that a giraffe has a very special valve at the base of its skull, and for when it drinks, it will actually stop all the blood going into its head, because of coming down from that height and spreading your legs to have a drink of water, all that blood rushing down from a height into their brain would cause them to pass out. So I'm guessing that valve also plays quite an important role when they're fighting, to stop the blood rushing to the head when it gets lower. These two little guys, oh, a little dominance blow. You'll find that quite often in male animals in the bush. They will try and mount each other for dominance. But Anna-Marie says she's watched some videos of giraffe fights that become very, very tangled. Very, very brutal. And she's wondering, do their necks ever become tangled? Anna-Marie, they don't. Oh, there we go, there's that little dominance blow. I've never ever heard of a giraffe's neck becoming tangled. Broken, yes. Broken legs, yes. Broken ribs, but never tangled. So, out here we've got lots of different animals, and Marie-Anne's wondering, do giraffe ever chase vehicles like elephants? Well, Marie-Anne, if you drive properly around elephants, they shouldn't chase you, and since I've been at Juma, how many months now? 8 months? 7 months? With Wild Earth, I've never been chased by an elephant or a giraffe, but yes, elephants do occasionally chase vehicles, but giraffe do not. They will much rather move away than chase the vehicle. Looks like the sparring slowing down a bit. And with teenagers like this sort of half serious, half play can go on for quite a long time. I think they're going to realize they've been left behind by the rest of the giraffe quite shortly, and then they'll probably just move off to join them. And this is quite a power play going on between these two. Speaking of people from Canada, a little bit earlier on the Sunrise Safari, we met Judy, who's a regular viewer of ours who's staying at Arathusa at the moment. So we said a quick hello to her, and I'm sure some of you guys out there might know her. So we have quite a varied set of pregnancies out here in the bush, the elephant being the longest at 22, 23 months. And generally, the bigger the animal, the longer the pregnancy outside of the primate world. Animals like us, for our size, have a very long pregnancy, and so do a lot of the primates, and that's to let the brain develop. So we've got far more cognitive function than most animals. But Charlotte from Denmark, who's also a new viewer, or new to asking questions at least, so welcome, Charlotte, and please keep sending in questions, is wondering how long a giraffe's pregnancy is. And it is one of the longer ones. And what I'm going to do, oh, just hang on a second. Sorry, I thought I saw something behind those giraffe. Charlotte, I will get back to your question in a second. And when young males are doing stuff like this, if there are lions in the area, they can be quite vulnerable because they're not focusing on checking for predators. What was that? I just saw a very tawny shape move behind the giraffe on the other side of that little drainage line. I mean, most likely it's going to be something like a kudu or an impala, but it's definitely worth checking carefully. Did you see it, Brian? I mean, if it was a lion, there would definitely have to be, if it was a lioness, there definitely have to be more than one to take on a giraffe. Even a small giraffe like this would definitely have to be a pride. Although I have seen two males take on a huge male giraffe by themselves and succeed. They can actually break a lion's jaw, break a lion's leg, and it is quite a high-risk animal for lions to hunt. And you do get prides that specialize in it. Actually, I think I can see that now, and it is a false alarm. It looks like a kudu that's just moved through. I can't just pass through very briefly, but it disappeared. But they kick very quickly, and we're gonna just finish on Charlotte's question, which I got sidetracked from, which was the gestation period of a giraffe. As I said, it's one of the long ones. It's over a year. It's 400 to 460 days. So a very long gestation. And speaking of baby giraffe, let's see what James has got.
It's leading north, approaching Pipeline Junction.
Hello everyone, you've been having a marvellous time with Brent, and apparently what has been described by Tara Dales is the greatest giraffe sighting in the history of giraffe sightings. We've come to a little spot here, not too far from where Brent is, but there are two tiny giraffe here. That one there that you're looking at is about 3 months old, I think, and they seem to be without any form of adult supervision. We're just going to carry on around the corner here and have a quick look at them, and we'll take you back to Brent if anything further develops there. Having a wonderful time around there, so maybe the adults are around the corner here. And they were frolicking around here on the clearing when we got here, but why their parents are not around, I'm not sure. Is that another one, Andrew? No, I think it's just a tree. Cantering off. There is another one behind there. There we go, there's Mother. Look at this little one having a little leap up and down, and it's so wonderful to watch them run. And Gilly in Wisconsin, you were just saying exactly the same thing, that it's amazing to watch them run. It does look like they're running in slow motion. They have huge feet, Gilly. You wanted to know how big they are. If you were to look at that little ones there, he's probably got a sort of size, human size 10. The others, the big bulls would have feet roughly the size, I suppose, of a standard issue soup bowl. That's probably about the size. I'll show you with my hands when we come back out from this little chap. Probably about that long. That's what the tracks look like on the ground. So pretty good length, and they do look like they're running in slow motion, but they aren't. I mean, they run very quickly. Let's keep in on the little one there. He's frolicking about. It's quite chilly today. There's an unusual kind of coldness about, and I'm sure that's why this little one is running around more than it would normally, and also why you had that amazing sighting with Brent of the giraffe knocking about the place and sort of play fighting and running around. He's caught by some pretty gorgeous light at the moment. Now these are the two that we see them last night. They're not the same ones that we saw yesterday. No, they're not. What is interesting here is that these two I've seen before, and I think that kind of, the little one that's looking at us now, you can see its umbilical cord perhaps is sticking out of below its belly, and that's 3 months, which means that little thing is not quite 3 months yet.
I've been down for about 35
Year long, do frolicking about. I think that's just kind of play behaviour thrown in with a little bit of frustration. What it was doing was chasing a red-billed oxpecker. So, Liz, you want to know about seasonality in giraffe breeding? Do they breed during a specific season? They are not particularly seasonal breeders. You'll find that there's a peak around the wet season, so sort of November, December, January. But as you can see, this one was born in the heart of the winter time and has done very well. I'd say that's what we were watching just now, of course, was a little bit of a demonstration of the defensive mechanisms that giraffe employ. So that little one that was stamping its feet up and down like that, that's how they defend themselves against predators. Giraffe will lift their rear up onto their back legs and stamp down with their front legs. They can kick with their back legs as well. And I've seen tremendous footage of lions being fairly severely injured by giraffes' front feet. And Liz, I think is it Liz? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. But a question coming out of Los Gatos, California. Sounds like a fun place to be. Do they bite each other in defense as well? That's Charlene. Charlene, not as far as I know. There's not a great deal of biting. They might do a little bit of allo grooming, and that means that they would groom each other, so they'll sort of pick ticks off each other or give each other a scratch every so often. And there are lots of animals that do that to confirm social bonding. But in terms of biting each other, no, not really. They don't have a particularly strong set of teeth for biting. The only herbivores that really use their teeth as a particularly effective and vicious form of defense would be zebra, that I know of. They do a lot of biting. One just in front of us there, peeping out from the trees. But that one having a grazing giraffe, that's extremely bizarre. Oh look, picking up a bone. Wow, look at that. Picking up a bone. That is not uncommon, everybody, but you read about it, you seldom see it. They're picking up a bone and sucking it for phosphorus. That's apparently why they do it. They need a lot of phosphorus. I'm not sure why they're deficient in phosphorus. That's why they pick up bones and they often suck them. And you often watch giraffe, they wander about the place, they don't seem to, then they move off in one direction and they seem to be communicating, but we often don't know how. And Bree and Claire, question about how they communicate, do they make a noise? Bree, Terry and Claire, Tree, Terry and Claire, question about whether they communicate. Oh, Terry and Claire, perhaps. Sorry, I'm just missing this, missing the name here. Anyway, you want to know about how they eat. Oh, not how they eat, how they communicate. Totally got myself in a total fluster here. They make. You heard them grunting earlier. Now, for a long time, we thought giraffe were completely silent. That is becoming less and less the case as we study their behavior. You've heard them grunting. I have heard a cow giraffe making a bellowing noise at a leopard that was trying to eat her young baby that had died of natural causes. And as that leopard came up to try and sort of make off with the young calf, she made a horrible bellowing noise. We also think that they communicate infrasonically. Now, that might sound slightly more mysterious than it actually is. Elephants do it. They are able to communicate in a frequency that is just we can't hear. So their voice boxes will make various sounds that are too low for our ears to pick up. So we think that that's how that's the kind of sound that giraffe make. They also will snort in alarm sometimes. That little one on the left-hand side of your screen has the most wonderful, wonderful coloration I think I've ever seen on a giraffe. You may also have noticed the one that picked up the bone has lost its tail. Now that could have been to hyenas, it could have been to lions, it could also, and most likely, have been to ticks. Ticks often eat away at the top of the tail, and if the giraffe isn't particularly careful, it can become infected and the tail will then come off eventually. It must be extremely painful, I imagine, and it does come off. But certainly it's possible that it was a predator, and while it was running away, the lion, possibly a lion, got hold of the tail and it kind of snapped off. It will not grow back. It is not like a lizard. Very strange atmosphere today, kind of a breezy, cool air. And these giraffes are so inquisitive. I'm sure you saw that with Brent. I'm not sure if he was on foot or if he was in his vehicle, but those giraffes, once they get interested in something, it's wonderful to see them kind of walking around and coming closer and looking and investigating and almost enjoying a sighting of people. And if you're on foot, that is especially the case. If you're on foot ever in Africa, if you ever find yourself out here and you're on foot and you find some giraffe, it's well worth actually spending an hour or two just sitting in front of them, or even lying down on the ground in front of them. They'll come right up to you to have a look. I've had a giraffe investigating me from about maybe 1.5 meters. I was lying on the ground watching it, and it came up to within 1.5 meters, put its head down to try and kind of sniff me and see what I was doing. And that little thing is just fascinated by us. I'm always amazed at the stockiness of the shoulders and the legs. And that, of course, is crucial. That giraffe has to get up and run as a youngster. It must be born, and within half an hour it must be steady on its feet and able to run. Otherwise it will become a meal extremely quickly. And just to people often ask how you age animals and how you age giraffe, and certainly when these giraffes are born, it takes about a week for those horns of theirs to stand up. They're born flat on the head, looks totally ridiculous, and then after a few days they start to stand up, and within a week they are standing up, and after a few weeks they're fused onto the skull, and you don't ever see a kind of gap between them again. And then the other good way, Anna-Marie, to age a giraffe calf is by that little piece of umbilical cord which lasts until it's 3 months old. So if you know that, if you can see the umbilical cord, you know that the giraffe is probably not yet quite 3 months. It might last a little bit longer in some and a little bit shorter in others. And you can also see, we were chatting about those ossicones or horns, and they stick up when they're a few days old and they fuse to the skull. And of course the difference between the males and the females is that the males start to go bald, a bit like some of us. Andrew and I, or me more so than Andrew of course, and while we don't have ossicones, a bull giraffe has these bald horns. And Georgiana in Illinois, you want to know when it is that those horns start to go bald. It's pretty much when they start fighting. So they'll start necking each other, and giraffe necking is entirely different from human necking. They'll start bashing each other like you were watching with Brent, as soon as they get into kind of sub-adulthood. And so once that starts, it'll wear away the hair on top of the horns. And so I would say probably at about maybe 4 or 5 years they'll start to go bald. Right, let's go across to Brent. He's on foot, different angle, more intimacy